Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. So what I'm doing here, excuse me, sorry, is for the first time I'm actually streaming here across multiple platforms. So yes, I'm using, what the hell do they call this? Restream.io. Now, I should be streaming here to both YouTube and my actual Twitch account here. I'm just wondering if this is actually going to work out too well. Hopefully it should do. Hello there, Paul. How you doing, my friend? Okay. Now... Oh yes, this is pretty awesome. So how it works is I actually get to see the messages here in one unified actual screen. That's pretty cool. Okay, awesome. Awesome, awesome. We'll be good to go shortly, just getting things set up. Okay, so I'm hoping that by streaming both on YouTube and Twitch, it should actually make it a lot easier for you guys to keep up with me, which should be really nice. Thank you there, Paul. Right then. So everything seems to be working just fine and dandy, that's really nice. Okay. Now onto the Empire at large. But I'm just going to quickly launch the tracker over here. I could obviously do with the information. We are going to have to go through the operations log, probably near the start. There's a lot of information there that I do require just to really base my decisions on. Right, there we go. Rightio. So, the operations report over here gives us an actual breakdown of what's really going on over here. So we can see here that these forces have been loaded. Yeah, picked up by Kobe, Maru. 1 day remaining, 2 days remaining, 1, 2. So this is good information, actually. It's actually very, very useful information. So we can actually see here that the submarines I-121, I-122, I-123 have all laid their minefields. Quite good. Now, I don't know how many mines they will have laid roughly. I think it's usually around 10 to 15 with submarines, though I might be a little bit off there. It's usually not a huge amount of mines. I do believe the actual submarines do load the mines into their torpedo launchers to carry more, so I don't believe they are actually capable of attacking with torpedoes afterwards. Okay. We have a report here of 9 allied ships. We have the actual hex reference, which is quite nice. Well, the coordinates, I suppose you could say. Roughly 11 knots, moving southwest. Okay, let's try and figure that out. So 105. And was that 90? Right, that would make sense, so that would be just off of Guam. We'll confirm this. 106.55. Yep, which is Guam. Well, this is 106.95. So am I looking for 55? Yes, 55, okay. 105. Right. So supposedly we have a sighting of an allied... Right, that must be a incorrect report then. I'd imagine they would probably be sighting our own forces here. Play some Victory at Sea Pacific. I've not seen that. Well, I've seen something of that game, but not a huge amount. I do prefer this one to be fair, but I might take a look at it in future. Very much depends. Okay. So moving through our report here. Now an oil slick. That's usually indicative of a submarine. Yeah, diamond submarine near Kanoya. Ships below the surface at Kotobaru. That would make sense. There are allied submarines off the coast there. Anyhow. So I'm going to assume that is Chinese. It could even be possibly down here. Okay, we'll be able to figure that one out soon enough. Now continue through the operations report. So I'm not a fan of how many A6M20s were lost in the raid on Pearl Harbor, but it's something that we were expecting and something that we'll have to deal with. You can see that we actually do gain a more detailed report of the actual losses here. So for example, the aircraft here, this Zero, crashed, pilot reported killed. This A6M20 seems to have made it back but is written off. The pilot here is missing, reported killed. You can see here that some of them shot down on way home, pilot reported killed. Look left of Pearl, by the way. It's Ni Hao. How you doing there, Carl? It's good to see you again, my friend. Okay. Now, first of all, I actually want to do... well, I want to actually talk about something more of a grand scale. Let's see. Hello there, Salty. How you doing, my friend? Now, what I want to discuss here is the Allied shipping lanes. Now, most of his reinforcements and etc. will be coming from around about here, at the Gulf of Aden, I do believe. So I'm going to estimate roughly something like this for the shipping lanes. I'd imagine going all the way through here. Now, the shipping lanes may come down further to the south, but this is what I'm estimating is going to be his shipping lanes. So really, the best course of action for us to actually intercept this shipping lane is going to be potentially these islands down here, potentially here as well. Ideally, I would like Palmyra, which is, I believe, this island just over here. Though having some islands, potentially even Fiji, would be quite nice. The reason I'm talking about this is I actually want to make it so that THG will not have a route through here. Namely, I don't want him to have any possibility of safe travel. Okay. So what we're going to do then is, we'll see what assets we have in the area. We do have the 2 armed merchant cruisers down here to the south. What I could do is I could have them operate around this area. So for example, we have the Line Islands over here. Just obviously Palmyra. I could have them operate around this area, around the Canton Islands, the Line Islands. There is obviously garrisons around here in the Phoenix Islands. Now Samoa. Now Fiji does have a aircraft over here. We don't want to be going close by. We do supposedly have one allied ship in port over here at Pago Pago. Okay. So I-10 has its own search aircraft, which is very handy. That is going to be very useful in the future. Okay, so what we'll do then is we'll split up these 2 AMCs. So form a new task force, surface combat of course. Yeah, they're both the same class of ship, which is good. We'll take the Hokoku, Maru. Okay. So ASL. The Diction. I was called that ASL Interdiction South, and that'd be a decent way to refer to it. Okay, so with your search aircraft, you do have some decent range. It would be nice to have more than just the one. What I'm going to have to do then is, well, it's going to be out searching 25% of the time. Not great. I mean, with just the one plane, we can't really do a rotation. I could do with really establishing an actual permanent position down here in the South Pacific. Ideally, I do want to take a base from the actual Allied forces here, especially from THG. I need him to not be expecting something like this. Now, that's actually worth a decent amount to me, 100 victory points. Not too bad at all. It has a port capacity of 2 and a air capacity of 1. Not exactly amazing, but it's not bad. Now, potentially taking these islands may be a worthwhile endeavor. We do have some resource production over here. We do have a level 3 port as well as a level 2 airfield, which is quite nice. Okay. What we're doing here is we're trying to establish which would be the best target. Canton Island, Port 2, aircraft, well, airfield level 2. So the Phoenix Islands are actually looking pretty... Yeah, they're actually looking pretty attractive right now. Okay, so I'm going to assume that the Canton Island, well, the Garrison and Canton Island, are actually the ones we should try for. Now, Christmas Island itself has a port capacity of 2 and an airfield capacity of 1. I'd imagine these are either potentially French or Australian forces here. Even Palmyra is not that good in comparison to some of these other islands. I don't need to actually worry about Palmyra too much. So I think what we'll do then is we'll take a look at Canton Island. Yeah. So I think Canton Island, take the Phoenix Islands here, and then potentially Pago Pago. Just part of the Samoa Islands. That would obviously threaten Fiji. It would depend really what they have at Fiji. If we consider the possibility that they could obviously transfer forces from Brisbane, for example, over to Fiji, we might be putting ourselves in a dangerous position. Namur. Yeah? Yeah, I'm gonna go into Namur. That's actually quite attractive as well. Light industry there, resources, so it would produce supply, port capacity of 2, air capacity of 2. New Caledonia is not a bad island to go for, and it's a little bit out of our reach at the moment. Nothing too particularly attractive in the Cook Islands. The Austral Islands are much the same. Hey, how you doing there, Black Mesa? Okay. Really not seeing many islands that are actually worth the effort. So yes, we'll go for Canton Island. I don't know what sort of garrison we'd be looking at, but Canton Island is my target in this area. So I think what we'll do then is we'll start to intercept trading ships around this area. I wager he's going to send his forces along this sort of route. Directly either to Brisbane, well probably to Brisbane, I'd assume Brisbane. Considering this port over here, its capacity 5. Melbourne is at 7, so it might be doing a route down to Melbourne actually. I'm doing pretty good too. Nice. Just actually streaming this for the first time using a new method, which is Restream.io, which is nice. So I'm streaming here on YouTube and Twitch at the same time. Obviously you can see the difference in Twitch. Something I don't really use. So I'm trying to increase that usage. I know it's a bit earlier on a Friday than I normally would stream, but hey, we'll be okay. Right then. Now, what forces do we actually have available in the Marshall Islands? Of course, I do have my engineers over here on the base force, which has provided the viable aviation support as well as navals. So obviously they can't be moved out. Never mind the fact that there are actually no combat capabilities there. But I do have 6th Fleet HQ as well as the 24th Air Flotilla headquarters over here as well. Coastal Defense, which is quite nice. I do have an engineering unit over here. I could do with actually moving that over to, what's this? Kwajalein Island, or Kwajalein Island. I don't know how the heck you actually pronounce it, but I'm just going to go with something of that nature. Okay. I do have 2 submarine auxiliaries over here. These are going to be very useful ships to use in the future. I do have my auxiliary Ondo, so this is obviously our replenishment, our oiler. Jingi and Yasuki Shukanai? Yasukanai. I swear to God, I just need to stop trying to pronounce these names and just go with the actual class. It'd probably be the safest way for me. So what I'll do is I'm going to actually set these up as their own task forces so I can have them made ready. So support. Okay. You do have an okay cargo capacity, though your speed is actually quite low. It's not worth really taking this bad boy with us. So we'll have Jingi. There we go. I do need to actually load the tender. I don't seem to have that option at the moment. Let's see, am I docked here or am I undocked? Okay, let's dock. We might not actually have the points available this turn. Ah, okay. We may have to load supplies on here manually. That's fine. So what this will allow us to do is actually to rearm our submarines out in the Pacific as well as perform some rudimentary repairs. Which is better than nothing really, for the vast majority of the time. Okay. You're going to start loading there. I'll set up the other auxiliary. Yasukuni model. There we go. It actually seems to be larger. Right, load supplies. That's all we need. A few pronunciations from being barred from visits in Japan. It sounds about right. Okay, this AD here. So basically this destroyer tender is actually quite viable. Be careful and mindful of American anti-subcontrols. Yes, that's true. We'll try to arrange some kind of escort, but for the time being we'll have them loaded up and made ready. Now I do have the auxiliary, well, the destroyed tender, which is quite nice. Very useful craft to have out here. Yeah, so we're going to be hitting Midway. I've agreed with THG that I'm not going to be doing carrier hunting with my, well, with Kiributai. But what I've done is actually I've split Kiributai up into 2 parts. So Akagi and Akagi, the other one now. Akagi and Kaga, I believe, are going to be heading back to Japan. But they're going to swing by Wake Island along with the battleships, well, with 2 battleships and some slower craft. And they're going to assist in the invasion. I probably might keep them in the area depending. But I do have Kiributai with Shokaku, Zuikaku, Iru. What's the name of the bloody other one now? Jesus. I'm telling you, it's the bloody pain medications absolutely do me no good. It's like I've got my foot up on a pillow at the moment. Just be awkward. But hey, I'm just happy that I get to stream a little bit more. Okay. I was hoping that you'd be a little bit heavier around, but that's fine. This bad boy over here will be able to perform rearmaments on destroyers as well as actually some light repairs, which is quite good. There we go. Load supplies. We do have our patrol boats out here. We can see obviously these are all the patrol patterns. Naval Fortress, obviously the engineering units. Now, you know what makes me wonder? Is rather than invading the island of Magan, would I actually be better off sending those troops directly? I jumped up XTRG, best XTRG. Yeah, would I be better off actually bypassing the island over here and heading directly to Canton Island? The thing is, I don't know what sort of resistance we could be facing. What do we actually have on board here? So we have Naval Guard. The destroyer Ashinagi and Yanagi patrol boat. 2 cruiser mineliners. These are very old craft here. Yeah, we will obviously need that fleet support. We have a decent amount of supplies. Just over 3,000 tons of supply. Okay. What I'm going to do here then is actually re-divert them. Or divert them, I should say. We'll set our future objective to Canton Island. I don't think he'll be expecting this, and I think this could actually be a really nice move. At the end of the day, he's going to be expecting an invasion around about this area, just north of the Gilbert Islands. If I actually bypass those and head for the Phoenix Island, I don't think he'll see it coming. So we are going to set our destination to Canton Island. So what I could do then as well, I could actually use my AMCs to support the invasion of Canton Island. What is their gun value? Their gun value is, one minute, I just passed it there, 176, so that's not bad at all, you know. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're actually going to head up to Canton Island. Okay, we'll start setting up something of a blockade around Canton Island. What I want to do is actually figure out really what we could be putting ourselves in for. There we go. Okay, you're heading for Yokohama / Yokosuka, so that's all the way in Japan. So we're also going to stop that. Okay. Yep, you're given a mission. Right. Ikoku, sorry. I'd like you to actually patrol possibly this area, but I think maybe around Christmas Island. Okay. There we go. Some way distant. Give yourself some actual room here. Hello there, Norbert. How you do, my friend? Right, there we go. So what we're setting up here, then, is the invasion of Canton Island. So if we take a look here, then, so this is Canton Island. Why don't you patrol further out since you need warning to retreat if you run into anything? Well, I do have the advantage of having a search plane. I also do have the advantage of, well, I suppose surprise. I don't think he'll have the actual necessary assets in this area. And frankly, if he does start to chase me down or he does start to send assets this way, it's all the better for me. I have Kitabutai in the area, and frankly, if I so choose, I could bring down a force he can't resist. And I can do that pretty rapidly. Beauty is we're actually pretty close to the Marshall Islands, so I do have a decent number of assets. He can approach the Marshall Islands, but that is definitely a risk for him. Now, what is the range on our actual aircraft? Do they have the range? The G3s are really what I'm looking at. Okay, the G3s don't have the range, Canton Island. Hello there, Danoko. How you doing, my friend? Yes, so the G3s don't have the range to Canton Island. But the beauty is, once we actually do ideally capture Canton Island, that is actually going to be a really, really solid position. What I'm going to do here then is we take a look. Bring up our drawing tool. If I take Canton Island, which is obviously just over in this cluster, that is actually quite effective. Hello there, JC Destroyer. You haven't missed very much at all, don't worry about it. We're just talking about our actions down here in the South Pacific. I'm a little bit slower today. I'm still going with the bloody pain meds and that, so I'm a little bit slower. But I'm fine, I'll be okay. So yes, if we do take Canton Island, we'll be able to establish a position roughly like so. Ideally, I'd like to establish another position down here. Yeah. So this is roughly what we're... I'm sorry. So this is what our defensive position is going to look like, roughly. It's going to be in the shape of a cat. Okay. But yeah, Canton Island is going to be essential to this strategy. No mod swordfish killing you. Oh, bloody hell, I hate those things. Right, so just over 1,000 troops, obviously half of those, which is probably going to be quite generous if we're lucky there, half of them being frontline infantry. But we should have potentially enough troops to overwhelm the garrison in Canton Island. I've never actually attacked an island like this before. Well, I've never attacked this island in particular. So I have no idea what sort of garrison we're in for. I don't know what sort of assets they will have. Though, if needs be, I could always swing by with Kiributai to open that lock, I suppose you could say. Operation Tiger's Head. Yes, I like the name of that. So what I've done over here then is I've obviously detached Kiributai. So we have now two forces over here, so Karga and Akagi. So you can see here, the speed is just a little bit too slow to actually run with the rest of Kiributai. So the speed we're going to be running at over here is going to be about 33 knots. It's funny actually, the carriers are actually faster than the destroyers, which is actually rather impressive. But yes, we're going to be running here quite fast. The Tabby Cat line will hold. Exactly. So yeah, what I plan to do then is I'm going to use Kiributai to operate in this area of the Pacific. I'm going to actually use her. Well, the plan of action here is Akagi and Karga will head back to East Asia. Now, Kiributai will operate principally in this area. So the idea here is that THG will continuously be aware of carrier activity. It won't exactly know where they are, at least ideally it won't know where they are at all times. But he'll be aware of carriers. But the beauty is, at least with our fast carriers, these are the fastest carriers in the Empire. Our most modern carriers, I suppose you could say. Not the largest, well, at least not all of them are as large as Karga or Akagi. But the beauty is, I can have the older, slower carriers move back to East Asia, where they'll be able to use their planes to actually support the battle and the invasions over here. And they'll be bloody useful. You can imagine just having a few extra Zero squadrons in East Asia is going to make a massive difference. That's the plan. I'm trying... Now, what I have to do as Japan is rather simple. I don't have the luxury of a long war. I'm trying to build the industry towards a longer war, but the thing is I want to win this as soon as possible. What I'm trying to do here ultimately is I'm trying to enforce a decisive battle upon the Allied forces, upon THG. That's the plan of action. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start to just deploy our submarines once more. So you can see here that we do have all of these submarines on target, well, in their patrol patterns, which are already set up. There's going to be heavy patrols around Pearl Harbor itself. THG has agreed that it will not move any, well, ships out of Pearl Harbor for the first turn, so we may attempt to break out in the following turns. So by having our submarines over here, we should have a good chance to intercept them. Now notice that we actually still have 6 midget submarines in Pearl Harbor, which is really remarkable. Well, actually, is that 5 midget submarines? Yes, 5 midget submarines, then I stand corrected. And we did actually get very lucky. For example, let's see where that battle report is. Here somewhere. Yeah, there we go. So the midget submarine HA-24 actually attacked the auxiliaries. This is an ammunition carrying ship, I do believe. Actually attacked, and I do believe sank her. We did hear the sinking animation, well, the sound effect for the sinking. So that's actually a ship that was actually destroyed. Well, that's really quite impressive. We'll actually take a look at her ammunition. I'm looking for HA-24. Yeah, HA-24. Seems you're actually out of ammunition at the moment. Seems you only have 2 torpedoes to fire. That's fine. In that case, what we'll do then is we'll attempt to take her back out. The HA-24 is going to try to leave. What I need to do then is actually head for one of my submarines that are capable of carrying her, which I imagine would be I-27 or I-17 was that? I-7, there we go. So we're going to try to evacuate her, use her again another day. But what we need to do now is really figure out how we're going to try and track down the American carriers. I'm going to use my submarines for this task. I think principally it's going to come down to the actions of our aircraft carrying submarines. These bad boys need to be spread out. They actually do have the widest possible chance of actually detecting any signs of carriers. And frankly, that's easier said than done. Now, I'm running these bad boys on full speed to make the best use of them. I need to move out here pretty quickly to try and figure out where he might have gone. So I think what we'll do then is actually... I have really very little information. I was praying for some kind of report here to give me an idea of where to head. But what we'll do then is we'll head towards Johnson Island with this submarine here. Now we have I-25. Actually, I need to set these up as patrols, and then at least I can see them on the map. Right, so we'll clear that destination. So if I set my patrol zone over here, down next to Hawaii, by the way, where it said 9 ships were sighted. Okay, so we'll have you head down here. Okay. We'll have you head out there. Obviously, she's not going to linger here. Set her to a direct route. Now, the beauty is at least I can actually see where we have these set up. So if we take a look, what is the actual search range on these aircraft? There's my manual. Right, here we go. Here's my manual. What I want to do here is actually figure out what hotkeys for the actual aircraft range, so I can figure out roughly what we're dealing with. Right, so F3. Okay, let's see. That's for smooth radius. Right, so you're out there searching constantly at the moment. Okay, press F3. Right. No, I'm not seeing it at the moment. We might have to click on the actual squadron directly. Try that again. Right, there we go. So we can actually see the radius now. So what I'll do then is I'll turn off the actual movement radius. So here we can actually see the plane's operational radius. So this is good. So this gives us an actual... it gives us the actual information I need to plot the submarine's path sound. Let's see. So this is roughly 1, 2, 3, 4 hexes. Give or take 5 hexes. I'm going to go with the assumption about 4 to 5 hexes. What we'll do then is I'm actually going to go here. So we'll turn back the movement radius. Okay. Now what we'll do. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Have you head about there? Linger there just for a day. Direct route. Okay, there you are. I-8. Yep, search. Full speed. Okay, cancel your destination. So 1, 2, no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so roughly around about here. We'll put you on a direct route. There we go. I mean, this obviously doesn't link up directly due to the fact of the curves here. Right, I-17. One, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish. Say you put about there. Lingered about a day. I-15. Full speed. Cancel your destination. We'll set her to direct as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll head down that way anyway. These are actually large submarines. They come with search aircraft. They don't. Okay. The 8 has a route. Okay. So what we have here then is a search pattern that's going to be obviously primarily focusing on the south. I think the case is going to be that if he's going to attempt to move his carriers to the north, Kiributai will have the best chance of detecting them. So I'm not actively hunting his carriers, but if they head north, then I will end up intercepting them regardless. So I think that works fine within the rules. I don't consider that cheating. But as well, we are making the most use of our submarines here. Obviously, there's always the opportunity for him to escape back to America. I mean, the thing is, he could do that. Why don't you push it out past Johnson Island? Well, they can only move that far in one turn anyway, so I'm just going to do it turn by turn, and we'll figure it out from there. And obviously, I could set, like, second control routes, but I'll just keep it like this, simple for the moment in time. Now, what we'll do then is we'll take a look at the other submarines in the area. Now, we are burning a lot of fuel on this. So, it might be the case that perhaps... I think maybe another turn of full speed. I think that'll be the safest way, to be honest. What I'll do is I'll set them just on patrol zones, just to make things a lot quicker. So, patrol around target. We'll say around here by Johnson Island. Make it, messy. Right, you have your orders. Actually, we'll just do it manually. There we go. So we'll change the default. Okay. We'll try to fill in the gaps as much as possible to have a submarine really bearing down on every inch. Right, there we go. I-171. Okay, at least by doing a patrol patterns, I can actually see where our submarines are heading. So this does make things significantly easier. Okay, you're not going, actually top speed. We'll change that. Yes, it's expensive to be doing this, to be burning fuel in such a way. But the thing is, this is the only opportunity I'm really going to have of actually catching a carrier. So I do need to make the absolute most of it. We've got a lot of ground to gain back. I don't know how far he started out, and I don't know how far away we are. So I think at the end of the day, if we push this now, we might be rewarded. If not, well, we count our losses in terms of fuel usage and then just continue from there. Not the end of the world if we use a lot of fuel. Well, at least a decent bit of fuel. The endurance will last for some time. It will obviously just shorten for the foreseeable future. But then when we do take over island bases such as Wake or Midway, we'll be able to have them replenish or set up cargo, fuel convoys down to those islands. Yeah, you don't need to worry about your fuel usage. I mean, the good thing is here that we're actually spreading our submarines out quite nice, well, quite wide here. So it just gives a very good chance of actually trying to catch something, which is good in my opinion. Right, I-169. Now you're only on mission speed. What I'll do is I'll go back, change you to full. There we go. I do want to try and explore down here to the south as well, but considering you're at the centre of the pack, I'll have you head up this centre area. These other submarines will be searching down this area. I-168. I mean, these submarines are fairly speedy. Obviously, when they move on the surface, they do move at considerable speeds. Yeah, 23 knots is nothing to laugh at. Oh, that's waypoints. I need to set patrol pattern. My bad. There we go. I mean, even these submarines that are not equipped with surge aircraft, they still have a chance of actually detecting things, so it's not the end of the world if they're not equipped. Okay, you have some phenomenal range. That is some phenomenal range indeed. Very, very respectable. Only 18 knots, so you're not the quickest, but that's not bad. We'll have you head out this way then. Okay, only 2 more submarines to give orders to. Yep, pretty phenomenal range. Cancel your destination, not bad. Direct, they're your patrol. Okay, 1 more. And that is the submarine Ivory. Don't forget to send some to the American coast. Yes, we will do. What we'll do is we'll take these these submarines with around 24,000 endurance, give or take. They will then be sent over to the American coastline. What we're doing here is really... it's the hunt for the carriers. That takes precedence over the American coastline. But what we'll do then is, if we do, and ideally, it would be very nice to actually find one of these carriers. But if we're not successful, then we'll reorganize the submarines for the blockade of Pearl Harbor. I'll probably try and peel some off to potentially raid Australian waters, or potentially to patrol the South Pacific. The ones such as this, of this class, will be sent to the American coastline, but we'll try to interdict them around probably San Diego. Maybe San Francisco. That sort of area. Not too close to the actual shore itself, of course, but some distance away. I feel fairly confident in this, though. I think if there's any chance of us actually detecting and discovering an American carrier, I think this is probably going to be the turn, but it happens. Okay, we'll give them the mission. Okay, there we go. Then, of course, I do have some submarines over this way. So you can see that we have roughly this that will cover. I mean, obviously, they're going to be heading all these routes. I mean, they'll be heading like this. Obviously, I'm guessing with some of these... But yeah, roughly we'll be covering all these X's, which is going to be really nice. You can imagine we might have an actual decent chance of discovering something. And then, of course, we'll have Kitabutai heading over here to the north. So if anything, his actual escape routes are really the south or towards the east. That's the only way he's going to be able to get out of here undetected. Okay. So, let's take a look. So we have the Wake and Midway Task Force. There we go. So this consists of Karga and Kargi. Now we have 123 aircraft here, 113 are ready. However, 5 aren't and 5 in reserve. It's 11. Yes, it is indeed 11. In terms of actual aircraft, we have very little fighter coverage here. Only 11 A6M2, so nothing, nothing major here. We do definitely need to get these guys up and ready. Yeah. We'll gain back another 4, so we'll take us up to about 15 A6M2s, but that's still perfected numbers. 45 dive bombers, and about 52 torpedo bombers. So we do have a respectable number, but what we do need to do is actually take a look at our actual aircraft on these carriers and really set up their actual operations. So what we'll do then is we'll have roughly 20% of the A6M2s on combat air patrol, so that will keep the rest of them in reserve. Right, we're obviously going to cancel that. What I'll do then is have them on escort, I do believe. So 20% will run combat air patrol around the carrier, just in general patrol around. The rest will run escort missions. Now, I'm not going to have them use drop tanks because I don't want to actually have the operational losses. That, of course, it is going to use an increased amount of supply, and I'd rather not do anything like that. Well, fuel supply, whatever you'd like to call it. Altitude obviously needs to be changed. The actual A6M2 operates fairly well. Let's see. Yeah, so it operates best at about 15,000 feet. Though I am somewhat tempted to actually push it to about 16 to 20,000 feet. The reason for that is the actual American planes will be operating around about 15,000 feet on average. So I think what we need to consider here is being above them, really. I think that'd be a good bet. Now if I bring up the actual tracker. So aircraft comparison, so we'll have here IGN and the US Navy. Fighters. We have the A6M2. Now, what can I be expecting to face from the Americans here? That's a good question. I think we'll probably be facing F4, F3A Wildcats. Probably. I'm not too familiar with what the actual American carriers do carry, as I've never actually played as the Allies in this game, so I have no idea. But we'll take a look here. Go away, G-Force. We'll take a look here, then. So service ratings obviously equal. Loads actually wildly different. Durability, so obviously they do have that on their side, plus they do have that armor. Their maneuverability is actually worse though, which is really important. So, if we take a look over here then, so we'll go back into the game. You can see here 10k, 10 to 15k. So this is 10k, 10 to 15k. So yeah, they're going to be operating around about that area. Now, if I operate about 16 to 20,000 feet, I'll actually have a height advantage upon... Right, so they're going to be using Wildcats. Right, okay, Wildcats, that's fine. So I will be losing around about 5 points of maneuverability, but we still have a advantage of 7, which is actually quite a large advantage. What I'm thinking here is if we operate at that higher altitude, we do gain the bonus of actually being able to ideally dive on the Wildcats, which should, in theory, help to negate the armor difference. The R0s are unarmored, where Wildcats are armored. We do have superior climb rate. They do have superior altitude, but that's not really going to matter. Our range is obviously significantly better. Our zeros are actually faster as well, in terms of max speed and cruise speed. Endurance is obviously higher as well. That's really good. Yeah. So, I think we'll go with that. I mean, obviously at 15,000 feet we'd have maximum maneuverability. But the thing is, I don't want to have a level fight. I want to have something that's going to be more favourable to us. So I think what we'll do then is we'll operate at a higher altitude band. About 20,000 feet. So I'll have about 27 points of maneuverability here. Now, ideally we should be able to dive. And if we dive and we actually get to unleash the 20mm Type 99 cannon, which has, so you can see here, effect 4, penetration 3. Ideally, the cannons will have a good chance of taking out these Wildcats. The accuracy here is only 22, so the MGs are just going to be doing a lot more of the actual damage here, as they're going to be more on target. But it's the cannons. If they land a hit, they're more than likely going to damage or destroy an aircraft, which is really important. We'll keep them about 16 to 20,000 feet, so I'll go for about 20,000 feet. There we go, 20,000 feet. So what we'll do then is set all A6M20s in this, set all carrier fighters in this hex. There we go. So just like that, every fighter in Kitabutai is now set to these actual orders. What I'll do across the Empire then is really... I think we'll experiment with the actual altitude. I think we'll run... I don't know, it's one of these, isn't it? I think with the zeros, we'll probably run about 16 to 20. As I imagine he's going to be running his Wildcats to their best potential. Which thankfully is only what? Take a look. Yeah, 25. Now I'm actually wrong here. This is... I'd have 7 points of advantage if they were operating at the same altitude. But they're operating down at 15. Well, the thing is, if I start the battle with about 5,000 feet advantage, I'll be diving on the actual Wildcats, and then we'll be engaging at their altitude. So the thing is, I'll actually gain maneuverability from 27 to 33. So I think this is probably a decent tactic. I think this is probably... it could work. Okay, we'll go with that. We'll put faith in that. We can always test it on Kitabutai. then see how that works out. So yeah, combat average 20%. We don't need to have them rest. A train would be nice, but we'll do that later. Okay. Down the Vals. Obviously we need to set them from port attack. I will have them on naval attack. But what I'll do is obviously keep them very, very close to the actual carrier. I'm not going to have them on search, I'm just going to keep them on the actual carrier itself. They'll operate about 10,000 feet. But what I want to do here is actually change their engagement distance. I really don't want them to actually get caught up in another fight. So you can see here, if I go back, Iru, look at our Vals. Ugh, that's annoying. Right. There we go. Can I actually see that update? How you doing there, mate? You're still Blinson today. I'm really glad, man. I'm really glad to hear about that. Definitely looking forward to it. You'll have to send me a link and I'll share that as much as I can then. Okay. So we've got our Vals here. Obviously we set them to about... Right, okay. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to actually narrow that down. I'd say... about 2 hexes at the moment. I do not want to break the rules by attacking Pearl Harbor again. At the same time, I don't want to actually get myself caught up in anything dangerous. If I have 2 hexes, that's 1, 2, or 1, 2. Which is still fairly dangerous. Oh, thank you, Tactician. But I think we'll operate around that. Now, Blinson, we were just talking about something rather important I'm sure they would like. I'm actually going to set this down to about 2 hexes. You know, I'll set all dive bombers in the hex. Carrier dive bombers, there we go. So yes, what I've just been talking about is the A6720s and the altitude that I'm going to be running them at. Now, I've chosen about 20,000 feet, and the reason behind this is if we take a look here at the actual maneuverability of the F3A, which is what I'm imagining we're going to be facing. And we can see here at 10 K that about 25 maneuverability, 10 to 15, 25, 16 to 20 is about 20. Obviously, we do have the most maneuverability at these lower altitudes. What I'm thinking is, I imagine THG is going to be operating around 15,000 feet. So what I'd like to do to try and negate the actual armor advantage that the American aircraft will have is if I approach them and dive on them from about 20,000 feet with that 5,000 feet advantage, is that we could actually try to make up for that armor difference. And then obviously once we are down at 15,000 feet, I'll obviously have that 33 maneuverability. So I think we'll try operating around 20,000 feet. It'll actually give us a little bit of leeway as well, if there's anything higher than that. I don't use an arc and make it away from Pearl. Well, the easiest way is if I leave it on just 2 hex range. What that does is they'll operate at anything that comes within those 2 hexes. If I set up an arc and we're attacked from another angle, then I'd eternally regret that. So basically what they'll do now is, if there's anything within this radius, they'll attack it anyway. You said pole attack with Vals, want to be useless in the ocean. We've set... Oh, I might have actually... Oh yes, I meant to click naval attack. Good spot there. I must have been looking at another carrier's aircraft. So yes, we'll set that to all the carrier bombers. Good spot there, I would have missed out otherwise. I meant to have this on naval attack. Okay. It does seem to actually operate like this, so 1, 2, okay. I think the elevated position will be most beneficial when engaging those American aircraft. I mean, yeah, that's the thinking I have at the moment. I think if we can actually dive on them with the cannons, we have, what, a 22% chance of a shot there? I think the accuracy is about 22. But I think that advantage is going to be really good. That dive is going to be really, really important. We have lost a lot of our zeros here to the raid on Pearl Harbor, so we do need to be very careful. I think trying to use tactics like this may give us the advantage that we can use to make up for it. Okay. So, that is the 0 sorted, that is the Vals. I think I will drop this in another hex, actually. Right. Okay, so that's going to cover 1 hex of round them. What we'll do is we'll apply that to the actual torpedo bombers as well. Those are the Kates. Alt attack. Right, down to 1 hex. Might as well have them operate at 9,000 feet, same as the torpedo bombers. There we go. Okay. Actually, then again, the thing is they're going to operate... They're going to dive anyway, so I'll have them approach at 10,000 feet. Same for the torpedo bombers. They'll obviously dive down anyway. There we go. Naval attack, 1 hex. Yeah, we lost a lot of zeros. A lot of zeros in the Philippines as well, which is rather unfortunate. Dive bombers, what they do is they'll approach at that altitude, but then they dive to attack anyway. If they're under 10,000 feet, they'll obviously perform a dive bombing attack. There we go. I mean, to be safe, I could set them to 9,000 feet, and at least then we know we're safe. So I think we'll go with that then, just 9,000 feet to be safe. Yeah, there we go. Right. So now Kidabutai and the Wake and Midway Task Force, obviously they'll be protected within 1 hex. Which is good. It means I'm not going to break the house rules. It also means I'm not going to be drawn into any unnecessary fights. Our zeros will be operating out here. Now actually that's a good question, is the actual zero range. Currently they're at 9 hexes. Which is quite far. Yeah. I mean, yeah, this is where they'll be operating now. That's really quite high. They won't dive at 9,000 feet. No, they don't. They dive only from 10k to 50k. Fair enough. Right, we'll go back up to 10k. Okay, there we go. I mean, this is it. It's like, I'm not professional at this game. I can play it, but at the end of the day, this is a learning experience for myself as well as you. So, I do rely on viewers to a big degree as well. You guys really do help me out considerably, and I do appreciate that. And frankly, if somebody gives me some advice, I will take it. A bit of coffee. Okay. I don't want them to be searching, actually. There we go. Right. Drop that range down to 1 as well. Okay. Obviously, torpedo bombers glide. It's like a low glide and attack. Right, now the zeros. We'll have, 2 hexes? Yeah, we're already on with the APD conversions. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we have some fighters on Combat Air Patrol. I think what I might do then is boost this from 20%, possibly... We'll go with about 50% for this stage. So 50% of all the carrier fighters in this area will be on Combat Air Patrol. That's fine, so 1 out of 2 will be on Combat Air Patrol for this stage of the game. Which is probably a good idea, considering that the forces of THG are obviously close here. And the airfield has been heavily damaged. We did inflict some decent damage to the airfield, but not a huge amount, so they may still obviously be operational. So, with that, we're roughly done with the movement around here. Let's see. I do want to avoid this area at all costs. Yeah, we'll have you head to Tokyo then. We'll have you actually return to the north. I think I'll have them run on full speed for the time being. About 3 knots will make a difference. at the end of the day, if the American carriers do decide to swing north, as they may be something in this area, then I sure as hell do not want to lose anything. I mean, what we need to do then is actually bring these guys to meet up with Kidabutai. Follow Task Force 1. I see safe, safest. That's actually not a bad idea. Yeah, I'll have them operate like that, but at least they're not going to be heading directly towards Pearl Harbor and directly towards what might be danger. That's a lot of fuel. That's a hell of a lot of fuel. Okay, I'm fairly comfortable with that. We've set up our missions down here. Now, something else I discussed, for those of you who have joined a little bit later, is I'm going to imagine that the Allied shipping lanes are going to be something like this. So what my plan of action here is going to be, is we're going to strike at Canton Island, just around about this area. Or is it around here? Somewhere around here. Might be here, actually. We're going to strike at Canton Island. So rather than taking Macon Island or Macon Island, we're going to attack Canton Island directly. We're going to have our AMCs head up, one of them over here, one of them over to Christmas Island. The idea is we try to intercept any shipping coming down this way. So the grand plan regarding this is that we make it so that THG has no safe shipping lanes that they can actually rely upon. So if we actually do succeed in taking Canton Island, I'll be able to actually try to establish something of an airbase there. So I'll probably try to ship some patrol aircraft, or potentially some G3s, maybe something else. Engineers, some AA would be very handy actually. Maybe just a small garrison of naval guard. Maybe even a cruiser mine layer. At the end of the day, I just need to try and fortify that island to some degree. And the thing is, I'd have to be very careful about the allocation of assets, considering the fact that it could be cut off quite easily, and then those assets are good as gone. But the thing is, the reason why I'm going to have the, Kidabutai split up, and having the fastest part of Kidabutai remain in the Pacific, is that I can actually use them to respond to threats such as that. At the end of the day, moving about 33 knots, they'll be able to respond pretty quickly. Within a couple of days, they'll be there on station, and that will be quite a large number of aircraft there and ready to fight for the Empire. Right then, so we have our submarine operation over here, so I-10. What I'm going to do with I-10 is actually I'm going to take it away from Fiji. So I'm going to clear your patrol zone, and what I'm going to do is actually have you head out to, let's see, Melbourne might be the possible route. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to patrol the Bass Strait, but I'm not going to enter into these shallow waters, as our submarines are a hell of a lot more vulnerable in shallow waters. They'll operate out here just beyond Flinders Island and Tasmania. So I could operate fairly close to the actual coast here. What I'll do is I'll operate from around about this point here, just this point of land, have them operate, move directly. And then move about here. And then I'd like you to operate a little bit further out into deeper waters. Okay, so we'll be operating just here with our submarine, which is quite good. We're avoiding coastal waters. Well, we're in coastal waters over here, but we're avoiding shallow waters for the most part. So our submarine will obviously have the greatest chance of success and the greatest chance of survival. But the reason I'm going to be operating out there instead of around Fiji is I'll have my AMCs around about the Phoenix Islands and just past Christmas Island, well, near Christmas Island. So if there's anything coming down that way, at least they might have a chance to detect it. But I reckon if the Lexington class of carrier is trying to make its way to Australia, they're going to probably head towards Melbourne. So, I mean, the carriers will be around here somewhere, so we should have a head start enough to actually make it to Melbourne. Ideally so. I mean, can you imagine that? I can imagine he'd be very, very upset should his actual carrier survive, well, these submarine-infested waters around Pearl Harbor, they only make it to Melbourne, but just on the approach towards Melbourne, he actually torpedoed and destroyed. That would honestly make my day. I think that would honestly be one of the best moments in my life. Indeed. Right. Now we do have a bunch of submarines out here around the Marshall Islands, which we are really keeping on the back burner for the moment in time. The reason is I don't know where the carriers are. I've not had any single sighting or any single report of them. I don't know where they could be operating. So we're keeping them really just on the back burner for the moment, just so we can naturally respond. What are your air R&D plans this game? That's a good point to actually discuss here. We'll go into R&D. Okay. This is actually a good point. I need to actually take a look at some of these. Okay, so R&D is able to repair, which means they can actually expand. I use a mod. I'm using a graphics mod, but this is the base vanilla game. At the end of the day, everybody who's watching this, they can obviously do this themselves, so there's nothing different here that I'm using that you can't use. And if people do ask for it, I always do link the mod. Rough times. I'd like to use a mod in the future, but I think in today we'll have a go using the vanilla game, and then maybe if we're comfortable in the future, we could always try to move on to something different. But yes, let's go by types here then. So we've set up a few facilities here to go towards the A6M3A0. What I intend to do is, as well with the A6M2 and Rufy, is go from the A6M2 directly to, I believe it's the A6M5A, perhaps? Which would be quite good. Obviously, this will take some time to be ready, but once we have the A6M3As advance into the A6M3A, well, so the 5As, I do believe, then we should have some really good level production. We also have some production work on the, well, R&D work on the B6N1 Jills. A lot of these I do need to change. I've got the mainstays set up and ready, but there's a lot of other aircraft over here that I need to decide what I'm going to do. With them. Okay. Now, one of these R&D facilities was lacking in supply due to me expanding it. But this seems as though this has actually been recovered. As obviously I did set on my actual industrial centers in Japan to actually hoard resources. If we actually take a look at Osaka, Kyoto, for example, yeah, supplies required 11,000 plus. Yeah, supply here 39,000. That's good. So they're going to hold all these supplies, which is going to be very, very handy. Unless you have rules in place, you can also set aside some roofing factories once repaired all the way up to A6M8. Wow. I think we'll see about that one. We haven't really touched upon R&D for the time being. But I suppose in some ways, I might need something of an edge. We'll see. Anyways, back to lurking. I like it, man. I like it. Okay. As far as it goes with actual engine production, we take a look. I'm massively expanding the Nakajima HA35 production. Yeah. So we have 180 engines at the moment. I'm expanding that to an additional 120. So we'll have about 300 engines being produced here. Then an additional 200 over here as well. So I'm looking to produce around about 500 Nakajima HA35s just for this time being. I mean, the reason for that is I want to actually have that R&D like bonus. If I can actually build up a stockpile of about 500 engines, I'd be very happy. In the end of the day, I'm probably going to have to build this up to about 600 engines or 700 engines in production. Obviously, count for the losses and obviously production itself. But we'll see how we go. I've set it around about that just for the time being, just to not use too many supplies in this early stage. As you can see here, when it comes to other forms of industry, I've disabled repair itself, and obviously only facilities I want to expand are going to be allowed to expand. We're not using supply willy-nilly. I still have about 48,141 units of heavy industry within the pool, which is quite nice. Okay. I've also altered my naval shipyard usage. Is there an alternative perspective from the other guy also? Yep, there definitely is. if you go over to the historical gamer, you can actually see his turns when he actually does them himself. Though his episodes are radically different to how mine play out. Like, I do this as a stream. Was THG, he does his turns and records the most important parts, really what he's doing and why he's doing it, and then obviously like the actual turn resolution. But what I'm doing here is really recording every single moment. The reason for that is for people who have never played as Japan. I think this could actually work as a decent tutorial series. I mean, it's like, I'm no way a professional when it comes to War in the Pacific Admirals Edition, but at the end of the day, if I show my moves and why I'm doing them, and when it comes to making mistakes, if I learn from them later on, then ideally other players will do as well. So that's why I'm doing it in this format. Which is not easy for me. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's one of these things, it's a lot of time, but it's definitely worthwhile. Okay, so we have a few ships out here. Fair enough. And we have our forces marching down on Hong Kong at the moment. Yeah, I mean, you can go over to his channel at the moment and actually take a look at his first episode. I mean, I've made a gentleman's agreement, same as he has himself. But obviously, we're not going to be looking at each of his videos. We do ask that the audience itself, well, each of you, the viewers, do not tell either of us what the other's plan is. At the end of the day, we want to keep this as clean as possible and as interesting as possible. At the end of the day, if I don't know what he's going to be doing, and if he doesn't know what I'm going to be doing, it does make it rather interesting. Right, there we go. So, let's see. Thanks, man. Okay, so you can see here we have about just over 11,000 mainline infantry bearing down on Hong Kong at the moment, with additional, just near enough 14,000 second-line troops, 321 guns, 210 vehicles, 192 engineers with 8 engineering vehicles. Obviously, I do need to increase this. And today, this is actually not an amazing amount of strength. It's only 612 assault strength, which is not a huge amount, frankly. So what I'm doing is actually sending additional forces from Canton. You can see here the 104th Division is heading towards Hong Kong itself, and it should arrive there maybe in about 3 to 4 days, which is good news. Considering the actual original forces of the 38th Division will arrive in, give or take, a day or two. So, depending on how things turn out, we may have the Reinforcement Division a day or possibly 2 days behind the 38th Division and its assets. That's good. What I intend to do then is use the 2 divisions, so having the 104th Division will bring an additional, let's see, yeah, an additional 412 assault value, so that brings us to about 1,000 assault value. I'm also moving additional artillery, which is actually quite powerful there. And it obviously doesn't say any assault value, but when you take a look, I mean, this is only mortars, but that still is useful to have. Yeah. I mean, this is it. I suppose the thing is, once we get some way into the series, then people will be able to watch the other episodes and probably be able to discuss them to a certain degree, but we'll see how that goes. So yes, we have another division as well as some artillery bearing down from Canton down onto Hong Kong itself. Now, we can see that we do have a garrison of just under 12,000 troops that we know of at the moment. So a formidable garrison. There are some aircraft over here as well, but taking the repair shipyard is going to be incredibly vital. Not to mention anything of the heavy industry, which is extremely valuable to me. I need that. I think what we'll do next then is, while we're here over in China, is I'll take a look at setting up my moves in China. Probably a good way to go. Now, I do have a number of allied ships out here in the South China Sea. Now, it does raise the question of, do I want to try to attack these actual ships? Good question. Glad that you asked it. And, frankly, is it something I want to pursue? Depends really what resources I have available. I mean, what I wanted to do in China is actually radically overhaul the actual positioning of our aircraft, bring them to bases with sufficient aviation support, so we can actually support a long-term air campaign without any worries. It does mean that we'll have aircraft that will survive longer as well. But first and foremost, what I'm going to do then is, for all these troops that are on the back line or aren't intended to be moved at any point in the future, is I'm going to send them to rest and training. Now, what this is going to do is it's actually going to improve the experience and ideally the morale as well. I mean, the difference is between a unit, let's say, with 30 morale and a unit with, let's say, 90 morale is who actually makes it through to the next day. I mean, at the end of the day, having higher morale and higher experience is bloody phenomenal. It means that our troops will be fantastic. What I plan to do as well is actually do that for all troops across the entire Empire. If they're not in a position where they're going to be in active combat, then they will be set to rest and training. At the end of the day, that does keep them sharp, and it does improve the actual morale and experience across the Imperial Japanese Army. Really good question. Really good, well, thing to do. I think I've asked this before, but can THG control the British? Right, Ben. So, historical gamer. He is in control of the Americans, the Canadians, Australia, New Zealand, the French forces, possibly. I'm not entirely sure about those. The Dutch, the British forces, later on the Soviets, if the Soviets ever do join the battle. But basically, the entire Allies he's in control of. Okay. So, what we have going on over here then is quite a lot of force. I mean, that's 796 assault value. The issue is that we need to maintain a garrison of about 720 assault value in Shanghai itself. So none of these units are going to be moving out of this area for the time being, so what we're going to do is actually set them to rest and training. We'll set all to this operation mode. There we go. Now what I need to do is, for example, the 21st Division, is I'd like to actually give you a target to start planning towards. The reason is, if I do this, the more planning that we build up, the better our attack will go, the more successful it will be. So, I think as far as it goes, I don't know if we can actually have the rail lines. I mean, that looks like the rail line ends here. I don't know if it actually extends all the way to the base here at Chushian. Chushian. I don't know if it actually extends all the way into here. I'm going to hope it does. I mean, that'd be great if it actually did. But at the end of the day, we'll have to go with the assumption that probably hasn't. Either way, either way. I mean, it's a question. I do need to deal with the Chinese forces in this area, and I think by taking over these bases, we actually do push THG out of here. I mean, what we have to be very, very mindful of is, like, you take... yeah, take a look at this. He's actually already moving against me in a big way. So, for example, he's moving forces against me. Yeah, this is actually quite a dangerous situation. So I think we need to definitely study the situation here in China immediately and then make our decisions from that point onwards. We do have the advantage in the fact that our Japanese troops are actually superior to the Chinese troops in the most part, due to the fact they obviously have overall potentially higher experience, but it in general comes down to the better equipment. Now the thing is, I can't respond to this attack very quickly at all. The good news is we are already building fortifications. We do have level 3 fortifications. We do have the 34th Division as well as the 13th RGC Temporary Division over here. So that is a good... yeah, okay. So 9,060 frontline infantry with 6,493 second line infantry, 116 guns and 42 vehicles, 57 engineers. Okay, they need to hold. They're going to be under attack very soon. What we may have to do then is actually take our transport aircraft from Formosa and other areas, set up a actual escorting fighter squadron, and we may have to actually fly supplies in here to Yichang. The reason I can't abandon this is I can't leave here quickly. So the question is, do I actually surrender a city that has been hard fought for, that is actually fortified, that actually contains supplies to last us some time? Or do I venture out into the wilds of China, where we lose the advantage of fortifications, we lose the advantage that the Chinese actually... see, something I find rather funny here is THG is actually making something of a mistake here. Now what he's doing is, as far as I can figure out, is these forces are heading... let's see, let's draw that a little bit better. These forces are directly heading here. Well, this one isn't. That one is heading towards this hex, and the same over here. So what he's doing here is he's actually making a rather big mistake. Now this force and attack the city with no issues. But these forces, they're fucked. They're going to cross a river. So what happens is, when you cross a river into a territory controlling an enemy, is you go in and you assault. And he has no control over this. If he's moving these units across that river, he's inviting disaster to his Chinese cause. Because what happens is, they go into assault. And when they go into assault, they either make or break it. And if they make it, they take everything, and yeah, that's it. House of Cards gone. But if they break it, that means they're going to take phenomenal casualties. And I mean phenomenal casualties. Now, considering we have a full division there, as well as a RGC temporary division, we actually have a decent amount of force. The division itself is going to be the mainstay of the actual defences there of the city. But we can actually inflict some grievous casualties upon the enemy here. Considering that we have the fortifications as well, yeah, he's going to lose a lot of troops. So what I need to hope for is that he continues in this move. Because at the end of the day, this could actually be a war... Well, this could actually be a tactical win-in maneuver over here. I've not even had to do anything about. So that's really nice. I'm glad to see that. It actually does make what seems to be a very bad situation significantly better. Okay. Now, as far as it goes for this position over here, where we do have our RGC temporary division as well, another one of them, I forget the actual number, we do have to bear in mind that he's going to be crossing here, well, over the river as well. This force, I have no idea what its strength is, so I'm going to have to assume that it is going to be something that is going to overpower us. So what we have to take a look at then is possibly retreating to Hankow, or I could retreat to the city here. Now, it's interesting. These forces are crossing what seems to be open terrain. If I actually go here and press the... Which one is it? The number 3 is actually... Right. Yeah, okay. So you can see here, this is clear terrain. I think WR means wooded rough terrain. At least that's what I can sort of imagine. Wooded... dirt road? I don't know what this actually stands for. Let's see. I've got the manual here. It would be helpful if I could actually get a actual terrain key, just to have the best idea. Okay. Might have something like that. I mean, this is really important information, so do forgive me for flicking through the manual. This manual's actually bloody useful. Right, terrain. Right, and the legend. So, this road over here, as far as I can tell, would count as potentially main road. Potentially main road. Possibly. I think these black lines may represent minor railways. Yeah, that's actually true. I mean, the manual is great. I'm so happy to actually have one. It's such a great little book. But I'm looking at the legend here. Let's see. So, WD. Let's see. Yeah, it's a big book. Right. I actually don't know what WD is. Let's see. I just figured out what these are. So, right. So it could be D stands for developed. So semi-urban areas in that, well, in that hex. I'm going to assume developed for the time being. I mean, it could either be developed or it could be desert, but I'm not too sure about that. I think what I need to do then is actually try to email Matrix themselves, see if I can get in touch with actual developers, and see if I can find a more accurate key. And this is definitely rough, but WR, I'm not entirely sure what that even means. I'm going to assume it means wooded rough, or like basically forested rough. I mean, this could mean like forested development, which would make more sense. Basically, we have some like small urban centers, like small villages, or like something of a developed situation. But there's obviously forests around. But what we do have to bear in mind here is that we do have what may be a main road, or it may be a secondary road. But at the end of the day, that's still superior to clear terrain and cleared, well, rough terrain. These guys are going to move fairly slowly. So what we do here then is we have the opportunity of potentially a lifetime for these. We either pull back to Hangzhou, or we assist our defense at Yichang. I think I'm going to go with the assistance over the defense there. I mean, this is just roughly 2,000 troops, so it's not a huge amount. Actually, these are Chinese troops as well. That's rather interesting. So you take a look at that experience and morale there, 34, 35. Compare that to the actual Japanese forces over here. 34th Division, 66 to 1. That's a big, big difference. Oh, it's gone green. I don't know why it went green. Maybe that dictates hexes they can travel through? I have no idea. It's still learning here. Okay, so yeah, we are going to make a move there. At the end of the day, those 2,000 extra troops will make a big difference. So they're going to march into the actual city itself. Ideally, they can make it before these other forces arrive. At which point, we'll have a strengthened defense. I think this is the thing here. He's actually done a lot of good in China. He's actually doing a lot of smart things. And I'm so very happy that we actually do get an indicator of movement, which does make all the difference in the world. I mean, this is just an infantry division, or, well, actual infantry NATO sign. But having that little bit of a arrow does actually give us so much information. And just from that small tidbit, we can actually work out a hell of a lot. Well, I mean, the thing is, they're under threat. Like, I understand the reason of potentially keeping them there, but 2,000 Chinese troops and only 1,000 frontline troops aren't going to withstand any sort of assault for any length of time. Hello there, Christoph. How you do, my friend? So what I'm thinking here is, rather than have them in the open where they're going to die, send them to the city where they can actually assist in these defense. What I can do to push supplies in, this may be a navigable river. Now, okay, Chinese primary airfield. Yeah, I don't think that we have a port here. So I can't send APDs or transports up the river. I'm going to have to use aerial resupply then to keep this going. Which is fair enough. Yeah, so we'll use transport aircraft, obviously drop those supplies off from the air. I think that's the best way. I'm going to count on these troops being able to move there faster due to the fact that they actually are moving across a road. I don't know whether it's a main road or a secondary road, but it's still a road. I'm going to assume that they're going to be moving faster than these Chinese troops that march across nothing. Nice. Right. So, let's take a look then. Take the details there. We also see this force and this force heading towards this actual hex here. So what THG is actually attempting to do is actually attempting to actually cut off this rail line, which I can understand his reasoning, but at this point it's, well, I actually know I can see why he's doing this. I can't move troops from here to Kaifeng, but from Xinjiang to Hankou and to Wuchang, I can actually move troops along this rail line. So I can see why he's doing this. At the end of the day, that is a good good thing for him to do. If he can cut that rail line, it does mean that I can only move forces from Wuchang to Hankow, which is still a phenomenal advantage, being able to move so fast. And the fact is, I can actually move up this river. This city of Wuchang has a port. Hankow has a port as well. Actually, a decent sized port as well. So the beauty is, I can actually move supplies up to the centre of China via the rivers here, which is a great little thing. And frankly, I can even have some like small destroyers or small gunboats up on the river here to actually provide naval support, which is really quite nice, or at least riverine support. We have the RGC division over here. So Chinese infantry again. Yeah, their experience and morale is even worse than... So only about 1,000 troops here. Basically, nothing. Right. What I'm going to do here then is, if we take a look at the actual terrain. Okay, so we have clear terrain. Now that's a big thing. A big deal. The reason for that is I have armor over here. Now armor is bloody amazing in clear terrain. Absolutely bloody amazing. Sorry about that. I still have a bit of a cold as well. I'm really not having a good time of it at the moment. Right. So what I plan to do then is I can actually move some armor to actually assist in the defense here. So this is obviously not going to be the only unit I'm moving. But for example, we have 94 vehicles here. Hello there, play up. How you doing, my friend? So 94 vehicles, actually decent amount. I mean, 37 are armored support, but 49 in total are our actual armor. 19 are light. So yeah, they're still effective at the end of the day. They still have machine guns and stuff like that. THG certainly does have those forces spread out. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. He's got Chinese forces all over China, of course. And it's going to be difficult for him to actually bring them together. I mean, that's the thing he's going to have to try to manage. Is it possible to concentrate and break through and encircle? Yes, it is. So what I'm going to do here then is, I'm actually going to start planning for an objective while we're here. I'll have him start planning for the objective at Changsha. Then again, armor and urban sensor. I don't know if they'll be that useful. But I'll have them there anyway. They could end up becoming fairly handy. Indeed. Okay. I'm going to send the armoured unit as well. So, I mean, this is only armoured cars, but still, this is something else that's just very handy. So they're going to move. Yep, movement as well. So, 49 tanks, 17 armoured cars. That's a reasonable amount of vehicles, actually. Now, in terms of actual forces within Hankow, I only need about 220 assault value here. But I do have the 13th Division, and I am going to move the 13th Division. I need to prevent THG from cutting off, well, Wuchang, Hankow, and Xinjiang. And eventually we will take Chengchao. So we'll have a linkage of these rail networks. I mean, that means I'd have a link from Hankow all the way to Shanghai, which is worth more than anything in China. At the end of the day, that means I can actually move these resources, I can actually move army assets very quickly. And the thing is, it doesn't matter how many men he has. If I can actually move my forces around China very quickly, at least faster than he can, it does mean I have an advantage that he can't defeat, which is something that we need to protect at all costs. So yes, we're going to move this division here. Right, so you can see all these forces are still set towards Hankow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually set them all towards Changsha. At the end of the day, that means that they'll all start planning for Changsha. Okay, there we go. It's going to take them some time. I will give them some additional artillery. Right, 12 centimeter howitzers, 15 centimeter howitzers. Yeah, too bad highways don't allow for strategic movement. I can understand why. At the end of the day, they do give you faster movement anyway, so I suppose it's fuel something, isn't it? Okay. So I'm going to give them some decent artillery. So we'll give them the 12 centimeters, the 150 well, the 150 millimeter, 120 millimeter, 150 millimeter, and the 75 millimeters as well, actually. Yeah. Actually, I could just give them the entire artillery. At the end of the day, that does mean that they're going to be extremely powerful. And we should be able to butcher a great number of Chinese forces. I mean, the thing here is... THG is actually doing me a favour here. At the end of the day, he's bringing Chinese forces out of rough terrain, and he's bringing them to me. Great, because that means I can actually fight in the defensive, which means I actually can butcher larger numbers of Chinese forces without taking as many casualties, and without wasting time. And wasting time is the major part here. Okay. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to set all to follow. So all other marching units in this hex stay in the hex with this unit. What that means is everything will travel with the 13th Division. So what THG doesn't know about, or he may have an inkling, he doesn't know how many forces are moving, but he does know forces will be moving. Well, that depends on if he's looking at that. I imagine he will be. People will be telling him about that. So we can see here that Wuchang is not under threat for the moment. There's no forces here to oppose our move down here to Kyokyang. I don't know how you pronounce these names, so I'm just going to say it in a really bad way. Okay. You can see these forces over here in the probably rough terrain, just south of Xinjiang, actually moving towards the rail line here. So the 14th RGC Temporary Division, these are, what is it, 500 to 1,000? Yeah, about 1,000 Chinese troops. They're really acting as bait. There we go. So the rest of these forces, what we can do is we can set them to basically rest and training. There we go. Rest and training. Actually, AA does need to be on combat, as we obviously need to protect against raids. Alright, I need to make sure they're set to the appropriate movement mode as well. Obviously movement. Move. Move and move. And move. Not the engineers though. They can be on rest. The Air Force Base, I think they need to be on combat to actually give aviation support. But the 58th Infantry Regiment can go and rest. Hankow Special Base Force can go and rest. Okay. So what I'll do then is I'll go back, select the 13th Division. That's all to follow that are marching. There we go. That's brilliant. So what we're doing here then is all of our forces are going to be marching out with the 13th Division. Obviously you're going to follow it now. They're on a right and correct operation mode. The rest, besides the AA and the base force, actually I need to probably select the other special base force and keep them in combat. They will be training, well, rest and training, which means their experience will increase and ideally morale. Yeah, I'll keep you just in combat mode. I'll actually just keep the engineers in combat mode. Did I actually accidentally move you? Oh. Right. Cancel that movement. Good thing I'm checking this. Yeah, it seems like everybody's accidentally following. Yeah, that's fine. 13th, yep. You stay. You go. Stay. You stay. You definitely stay. You move, you move, you move, you move, you move, you move. There we go. Too bad. They're all obviously going to start planning for Changsha too. Now, 3rd Division is marching towards the south here. Ultimately, what I'm going to do with the 3rd Division is have it march to Nanchang. We're going to use it then to aid in the conquest of southern China, basically. We do have 2 other divisions. A mixed brigade as well. What's the actual garrison requirement here? 200. You're just shy. What I could do then is try to move over 24 assault value from Hankow to Wushang. And what that would mean is I could actually then move all of those divisions out freely without worrying. Let's see. Okay. Flank speed. Speed. Can I break you up? No. Right. You're static. Back. Okay, what we're going to do then is the 13th Tank Regiment, even as much as it pains me, is actually going to be sent towards Wuchang. That's going to form the garrison of Wuchang for the time being until I can move extra forces. But what this will actually mean is I have the capability to move the rest of these forces out of here. So I could move 3rd, 40th and 6th Division. 3rd Division's already moving, but that leaves 40th Division and 6th Division free to move. That's important. Now, if we take a look at the actual terrain we'd be fighting in here. We have clear terrain here, so this will be the best point of conflict. Yeah, the urban's going to be hell. I mean, Changsha itself is going to be absolute hell. So to be honest, it may be in fact worthwhile just keeping our divisions here just in reserve for the time being. But we'll keep them on training. Yeah, the manual's freaking great. So what we'll do then is we'll set the 40th and the 6th Division to train. There we go. Does THG live stream or just post VODs? I think he just posts VODs. I don't know if he's going to do anything like a live stream. Maybe he does. I don't know. I mean, this is it. I don't. I can't watch it, so I don't know. I mean, I could be speaking a load of crap here, but as far as I'm aware, that's what he does. Okay. We only need to say get us on about 100 AV here. Where are you? 8553. You're already halfway there. Might go over to the allied side after a few weeks start to give him advice. Thanks, man. What was that? 85. 8553. 553, so it looks like we're having a troop exchange over here. Ah, right, okay. Yeah, okay. So 39th Division's actually marching. 8856. Oh, okay. Over here. Okay. $88.56. Right. That's fine. So what we have here then is the divisions moving down this way. This division is going to be making a beeline towards Chushian. So what I can do then is, if we take a look, so I can't move the 22nd. Aren't I lucky? I really am, actually. Right, so the 22nd Division is going to be on rest and training. These forces will be on rest and training as well. Unless I can actually anticipate an attack, and at this point I don't see these troops moving as far as I'm aware. So these guys can be set to rest and training with no issues. Which is nothing but good for us. Now, over at Shanghai, I can't move any of these forces. Hello there, Simdeck, how are you doing, my friends? Good to see you again. Yeah. Swordfishes are just great. Okay. So considering obviously the fact that these troops aren't going to be leaving Shanghai, I'm sent them to rest and training, which is going to be great. At the end of the day, I'll have the 21st Division available in some time, where they can then move across China. So now, we do have the Chinese forces over here that we need to deal with. They are luckily in clear terrain, but I do have to move through a swamp first, so that's going to take me some time to move. What I'll do then is, let's see. We have the 26 RGC Temporary Division. Yeah, their experience and morale is just absolutely shockingly bad. I mean, that's 4 times worse than the average Japanese experience and morale, so yeah, they're really very little use. I need to maintain a garrison about 40 here. Unfortunately. Actually, you know what? Let's see. Right, so you're moving across there. Let's take a look at these forces. They need to maintain 40 here. So you're moving across. And you're moving across. Okay, fair enough. So what I can do then is, obviously we'll have that troop exchange, so I'll have no issues, is I'm going to set these troops to begin moving towards the Chinese forces over here. There we go. What I'm going to do with the other force that isn't moving is have them on rest and training. I'm just going to say RT for short. So we did fight a successful battle over here. Yeah, these Imperial Japanese Army troops, as you can see, 50 and 55. So roughly we have between 50 to 60 morale and experience across our Imperial Japanese troops. Now what we have to bear in mind is to pursue these Chinese troops is we'd have to cross the river and therefore would engage in a assault. So actually spare the lives of my Japanese troops, I'm not going to do that. Now this town here does require a garrison. Let's see. RT. These forces here, garrison is required, so they can all be set to RT. Now I have the 138th Division, sorry, regiment here. Garrison is required, so they're going to be set to RT. These forces over here are moving, so we have the SNLF. Now, actually considering the fact that this is SNLF, they should be easily able to be moved by APD transport. What I think I'll do then is, let's see. I do have a level 2 port as well. So rather than march those troops up the coast, I'm not going to bother. They're going to remain... Actually, they're already remaining here, that's good news then. So I'll send them to rest and train for the time being, RT. You're moving. So this is 116th Division, actually. That's actually quite an impressive amount of force. So I need to maintain a garrison of 40. Okay, we'll keep them in R&T. You can be set to RT as well. Sadly, I don't have the means to move the 116th for any sort of speed. So you're marching towards Nanchang. And I could march across the road here, but it would take us some time. I'd have to obviously cross the river, if I could even do that. But that is going to take me a phenomenal amount of time. So the thing is, I could march towards Nanjing. Now, they are going to be marching down possibly a main road. I'm not entirely sure if it's a main road or a secondary road. I'm going to assume it's a main road, but I can't be certain. But either way, they're already tasked with that movement now. So the thing is, I could cancel that movement, and I would have wasted that time. Or, and they have 184 miles, or even kilometers to march. I'm going to assume miles. They'd have a... then again, this is... I'm just going to go with miles. I'm just going to say miles. It could be kilometers for all I know. But they'd have 184 miles to march. What I'm thinking here is I could have a division marching down here, of course. I could have then a division marching down here. And I could actually try to find potentially some extra forces from this area of China, or potentially forces I bring in from Japan. Potentially 3 divisions worth of men. Which should be enough to actually subdue this area. And the thing is, I could march them up to the north, but I don't need to. I've got enough forces in the area to sufficiently deal with the Chinese here. So what I'm going to do then is actually going to cancel that movement. I mean, it's a shame that we've lost out on that movement, that's fine. But we are going to cross, and we're going to head towards Chuxian. Which is the same distance, 184 miles. But, at least by having these forces in this area, that means I actually do have combat forces there that THG should not actually be expecting. Which is good, it actually does work out for us. At least they're going to be in an area where they're going to be more actively useful than up here where they're just going to be passively useful. And obviously they do have to cross this terrain, but we're not far from our supply lines, and at the end of the day I could even move supply probably via riverine transport to some of these bases. Like, for example, having this riverine transport is going to be phenomenal. So I need to actually organise some riverine transport squadrons. That'd be quite nice to do, actually. Okay, so this area is more or less dealt with. RT. Okay. You're moving out. The forces then. You're on combat. I do need to maintain an assault value of about 100. That does mean I actually could move out the 183 assault value. These forces are leaving the area. Okay, that's good to see. Well, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to actually wait for the other division to arrive. So what I could do then is I could actually set these forces to start planning. So for example, I could set their future objective. It's like I could march all the way down here, but that'd take a long time. But I'm actually going to assume these are main roads and these are the secondary roads. I think I'm going to go with that. Rail lines, not too sure. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say that's a minor rail line. That looks like a rail line. Yeah, so, okay. I'm going to make the decision that this is a main road and this is a secondary road. That's even better for us. So that means that these troops that actually march on the main road should be able to move even faster than the secondary road, which is over here. That's good news. Hopefully we'll make good time. So I could march down the main road here, and then I'd have to go down the secondary road, unless it was actually to go through the rough terrain. But that's probably not very helpful for me, due to the fact that I'm moving through rough terrain and I'm going to be moving at a slower speed, which means I'm going to be losing more supplies and obviously taking attrition. So we'll plan for the okay, we'll plan for the city over here then at Xuxian. Set them all to plan to that. You're going to be set to rest and training, so RT. Not you, though, you're obviously going to be moving. RT. RT. There we go. Actually, base force does need to be active, considering we do have a, well, aircraft here. Okay. RT. Brilliant, brilliant. Okay. We've dealt with most of China so far. I do need to maintain these forces here, so I'll keep them on RT. These forces over here. I mean, I do have a reconnaissance regiment, and this reconnaissance regiment is really wasted here. This is actually really decent. I mean, it's got motorized cavalry. It's got some tankettes, and I mean some, only 6. At the end of the day, that's still some armor. The thing what we'll do then is we'll put them on RT for the time being, but I will try to move them out in the future. Okay, 60, we've got 180. So I can actually maintain this with just the engineer the more special base force. But what I'd rather do then is, if we take a look, these base force units are actually... Okay, we'll keep them active for the time being. I can't move them out easily, which is a little bit irritating. So they'll be kept on combat just so that these units probably will gain that aviation support. I don't know if it actually is required for them to be on combat for them to actually contribute their aviation support. I'm just going to go with that assumption just for the time being, and in future, should it prove differently, then we'll just change from there. The 102nd Infantry Regiment will be set to RT. 69th Infantry Battalion can easily be set to RT, considering they're the only force here they can't exactly leave. The 30th RGC and the 19th X Brigade. They can be set to RT as well. Which was the garrison requirement here. It is 80 of 201. Ooh, okay. Can't move them out. Obviously without losing victory points. But I do need to be careful to maintain every victory point I can do. Okay, so that's all these forces sorted. These forces are sorted. Let's take a look at Canton. So all these forces that aren't moving will be set to RT, set the engineers. There we go, and the base forces as well. Fantastic. So what will you do with the Air Force of some Formosa as the fronts move away? Excuse me. What I aim to do is maintain a small group of, I'd say probably like really poor fighters, mainly just to act as some kind of defense against, well then again it's one of those, isn't it? But they're very poor fighters, so what chance is a 5M4? The Claudes anyway. I mean, what chance is a Claude going to have against a B-17? Very bloody little. Just one of those of, do I even need to bother having them in Formosa, or would I be better off actually deploying them in China or the Philippines? Probably the latter, rather than the former. But for the time being, what we're going to do is going to use the air forces in Formosa to obviously support the invasion of the Philippines. Excuse me. But as for later, I'll move them out then. Move them to where they'll be best served. I need to really reorganize the air force in China, move the engineers out. We have a bunch of engineers that are moving towards Nagasaki. They'll all be ready in about 2 to 4 days. Yeah, then I can start transporting them from Nagasaki over to Shanghai. Okie dokie. Right, I can't move you. Coastal Fortress, keep that on combat. At the end of the day, if anything does pass there, they do have a good chance of actually targeting it. That's really, really high morale. Holy moly. Okay, so you're going to be tasked with the capture of Nanning. Obviously, I don't imagine they're going to be able to do it unsupported, but still something to bear in mind. Okay, I do have this engineer unit. They would obviously be a hell of a lot better served by heading towards like Kamlan Bay, or even towards Saigon. Hello there, Diligent Gravy. How you doing, my friend? Yeah, that's a good question. Okay, so we'll go over. We'll just have a quick summary of what we've done so far then. So what I'm going to go then and do. So rather than invade the island of Makin over here with the usual forces, what I've decided to do is instead reroute them, as well as other forces down, well, the AMCs, the armed merchant cruisers. So what we're doing is we're actually rerouting the Makin invasion towards Canton Island, which is over here in the Phoenix Islands. So over here. And then what we're doing is we're having the AMCs, so one of them will be heading up over here to patrol around the Phoenix Islands cluster. The second one will be heading over here to Christmas Island, where it operates something like that in a like a small triangle around Christmas Island. The idea being it gives us some sort of early warning. Yeah, Nanning will probably have 100k troops easy. Yeah, and this is the issue. It's like a lot of these objectives will not fall until I actually get a decent number of divisions. So they're just going to hold on the border just for the time being. But yes, beyond that, we have our submarines, which are going to be headed out maybe about that distance, maybe a little bit further. What I've done is I've actually spread out these submarines that have aircraft So something like that. Okay. And then what we have as well is our actual submarines over here. They're going to be operating around this area. So yeah, they're going to be covering these points and these points, and obviously we're going to be forming something of a hexagon around Pearl Harbor and the Hawaiian Islands. Now beyond that, we do have a submarine heading towards the American coastline just for the time being. We'll obviously readjust that in the future. We have, yes, Operation Tiger's Head. Oh dear. Yes, so we have Kitabutai and the Wake and Midway Task Force. They're moving around to this area. Kitabutai is going to be heading directly towards Truck. The Wake and Midway Task Force is going to be heading up over here, so that's Akagi and Kaga. Hello there, Abstract Cow, how you doing, my friend? So you're actually the first person that I actually have as a Twitch viewer. Welcome, welcome. And now normally, those of you who are my normal viewers, normally I would be streaming over on YouTube. But what I'm doing right now is I'm actually streaming using restream.io, which means I'm streaming on YouTube and Twitch at the same time, which is really cool. Means I actually get to have some... Well, I've been talking about it for a long time, so I've finally been able to do it, which is real nice. This is looking pretty cool, actually. It looks like a guy just holding like a little ball there. Anyway, moving that back. Okay, so we're going to continue the summary as we were talking about. 1 second, there we go. Hello there, Rez, how you doing, my friend? Okay, so continuing the summary. The submarines around the Marshall Islands were really keeping them in a sort of semi-ready stage. Be okay. I'm doing well, how are you? I've been following you on Twitch for a long time. I was surprised when I saw you streaming on this platform instead of YouTube. Yeah. I mean, I've been talking about it for a long time, saying that I need to actually stream on Twitch as well, so finally downloaded restream.io, and this is actually working really well. It's actually really cool being able to see different chats from YouTube and Twitch, so this is nice. I intend to do things like this now, from now on, so I think it'll be better for the channel in general. Plus, at the end of the day, if it's easy for you guys, it's easy for you guys, so I've got no arguments with that. I'm not a Twitch partner at the moment, so that means I have no issues with streaming on different platforms. Great. Right, so, what we're doing here then with the submarines is, we're keeping them in positions like this, roughly. I think I have some others here. So roughly what we're doing is we're forming something of a net around the Marshall Islands. What I'm possibly anticipating is that THG will be heading out in this direction, though he may come back and follow off. I do need to be very careful about that. So, I mean, this is it. It's like I'm not sure which way the Lexington-class carriers will be heading. So I need to be very much prepared. So I've formed something of a defensive network around the Marshall Islands. Should he eventually try to move through these islands, it's going to be a difficult situation for me. I'll try to prepare for it as best as I can, which is why I'm moving my submarines out this way in a wide fan, as quickly as possible to try and catch him early. If I catch sight of him, then I'll try to reposition Kitabutai, as well as other assets in the Marshall Islands to try and intercept him. Ideally, I mean, this is it, we only need to damage him, we don't need to destroy him. If I damage Lexington, that means she's good as dead anyway. And she's going to be out of the war for a fair few days, potentially even a couple of months. Ideally, I'd like to sink her, but we don't have to. That's something that's quite nice. Now, we do have the actual bloody oilers. They're going, well, this group of oilers is going to be following Kitabutai. This oiler is going to be returning to the islands over here. Was it Itrofu? I can't remember the actual pronunciation. Right, okay. I've not yet completed the orders around here. You have a sub-smiley face around Hawaii. What's Japanese a smiley face? Operation Smiley Face. I wouldn't draw things like that. I don't know what you're talking about. Right. Okay. So I've not yet issued orders to assets in this area as of yet. But as far as it goes in China, with all the forces that aren't on the front line, or at least all the forces that aren't expected to be in full combat, we'll have them on R&T. Oh, right. So I managed to locate your Twitch channel. You might want to add a link to your Twitch channel in the video description. Yeah, we'll do. To be fair, I've had this Twitch channel a long bloody time. I forgot the passwords for absolutely bloody ages. Which is why things are really cringy in the description, so I do need to update them and change things around, make it a bit more professional, a bit more like now, rather than a couple of years ago. But I'll get onto that one. Okay. But this is where we will be leaving off for today. Mostly as I'm getting a little bit short of breath. It's like I need to cough, and it's really hard to fight the sensation to cough. Also, I need to rest my foot a little bit, get a little bit of an ice pack on that. So thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. And we'll probably have a couple parts. It's like we are doing bit by bit. We're like compartmentalizing the actual turn here. It's going to be nowhere near as long as the actual original preparation turn. So this is good. We'll be able to talk more about the industry and R&D in the future. Industry we did touch upon in the first part, as well as the actual shipyards. So, at least here, we'd actually moved all these assets in roughly this area. But this is working out. Yeah, see, you didn't expect this, did you? Aha! None of you expected this to be an actual ball, man. Well, this does now look very awkward. I was trying to envision something of a pufferfish, but I don't... Okay, it's actually not worked out as I was hoping for. Let's just pretend this is a pufferfish. There we go, let's make this a little bit more PG-13, or PG-12, whatever you want to call it. See, now it's nice and innocent. But yeah, there we go. So we'll be touching upon... Well, we'll finish off China in the next stream. We'll touch upon, obviously, Manchuria, Korea with pilot training, as well as the, well, Vietnam, Thailand, and then obviously Malaysia. Well, Malaya, which is where a lot of the action's going on. Okay, wow, almost out of breath. Until next time, guys. Thank you so very much. Please do consider supporting the channel. It really does make a bloody big difference, and it really does help me to keep going. So until next time, thank you so very bloody much for watching. I hope to see you again in the future. Have a great day or evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. It's been fantastic. Until next time, guys. Please do leave your comments down below. Like, subscribe. Favorite? I don't know if that's a thing on Twitch or I don't know, whatever. Just do the Twitch equivalent. Until next time, goodbye for now.